What's going on, homies? Welcome to the Cracked Soccer Podcast, episode number 55. MLS Weeks 9 and 10 were this last week. A doubleheader of a week. Games on Wednesday, games on Saturday. Some good games across the league. Some teams that did very well and some teams that did and some teams that did sometimes very good, sometimes very shit. All this and so much more on today's episode. You're going to want to tune in. Make sure you subscribe to the Crack Soccer Podcast. Tap in, baby. Baby.
Subscribe.
Hey, listen. 80% of you that are listening to this right now are not subscribed to this channel. So please.
It's actually 99% of you.
99% of you that are subscribed to this are not subscribed to the channel. So please subscribe if you will. It helps us. We're actually at 90 subscribers on YouTube. So if we get to that 100, man, that'll be cool. That'll be big time for us because, 100. Who doesn't want to have 100 subscribers on YouTube? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw that the other day that we finally made it to the 90s. So hopefully
I know it's kind of wild. It's wild to think about, but it's been fun. 2 years at this pretty much, and we're just about to get to that 100 mark. So it'll be nice to hit it and hopefully continue to grow. My guy, there was week 9 and 10 of the MLS this last week. Games on Wednesday and games on Saturday. Did you have a good weekend in watching a ton of MLS soccer? Like you should have. And if you say you didn't, I'm going to smack you.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you.
I know what you're going to say. I didn't watch a single game.
I can't remember watching a game, bro. I don't even think...
You probably watched one game that I know you probably watched, but...
Actually... I missed most of it. Bro, I'm telling you, dude, like, you guys don't understand how much time I spend outside of my hometown and how much time I spend out in Salt Lake, because last weekend I was in and out. This past 2 weekends ago, this past weekend, I was up there on Saturday. So I got to watch some of the Inter Miami game towards the end. I missed all the goals, and then so I did watch the Wednesday games though.
Yeah,
I missed the Saturday
those
games,
are easier to
see. The Wednesday games I was able to catch quite a bit of them actually. So Wednesday games I watched. Saturday I was busy, and unfortunately I'm probably gonna miss the games this weekend too because I am once again gonna be in Salt Lake.
You should just move out here.
I honestly, because the weekend after that, guess where I'm gonna be?
In Salt Lake, probably.
In Salt Lake. Yep.
Honestly, I get it. I get why you live in a smaller town in Utah, northern Utah. But my guy, I think it's time. I think it's time for you to move to the Salt Lake area.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I just bought a house 2 years ago.
You can buy another one. Buy another one.
I could. But
buy another one and then, do it.
I don't like Salt Lake. I'd rather move to Miami.
Dude, you ever been to Miami?
No, I wouldn't.
Dude, I freaking love Miami, dude. It's so awesome there.
I've never been to Miami.
Anyway, it's a great place. We'll have to go one of these days. It's so nice, dude. I freaking loved it when I went there.
What do you got right there, my boy?
What do I got where?
What do you got on? What is that?
Can you see what I got on? It's a little bit old school. A little old school here. But if you guess the player, dude, then you're an OG. You know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
I know who it is. Do you guys know who it is?
Dun, 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 dun.
Starts with an R.
Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho.
Dun, dun, dun. Dude, it's the one when he first came into PSG, number 21. Dude, he wasn't even like. Well, I guess he was. He had just won the World Cup, so like he was that guy. But still, he wasn't like that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But dude, I'm going on like a little hunt because I don't have a lot of jerseys, and I'm like, man, I really got to get my jersey game up. You know what I'm saying? So I've been going around like looking up like eBay, looking at like Poshmark, these little things here and there, and like people selling like classic jerseys, and I'm like, dude, all the jerseys I wish I had as a kid, I'm like looking for them now. So I'm gonna keep finding them. They're pretty good prices, you know what I'm saying? So if I can find some pretty good price ones and some ones that I really have always wanted, I'm gonna cop them, dude. I'm gonna get them. So the wardrobe will get better sooner or later.
You need to get a retro Bayern Munich jersey from the years 1938 to 1945, bro. That would go hard.
Dang, that'd be crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but I typically like all the players that I've always liked. I'm looking at getting like
yeah.
big. I was a big fan of like Brazil back in the day, so and all those guys and like AC Milan and like the Inters and stuff like that was like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just looking for those, and hopefully I can get some more. So we'll see.
Yes, sir.
Um, but before we get into the meat of the conversation today, we gotta look at the correct leaderboard. Again, we're making picks of every single game that happened in the MLS. And this last week we had 2 match days, so Wednesday and Saturday. But look at this. El Capitan still in first place, 75 points, 73 for Fern. But I heard there was a little bit of movement this week, so give me a
Bro,
breakdown,
oh
dude.
my gosh, dude. Do you know what, like, when you like tweak, you know what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
means?
yeah.
Like,
I
I'm
feel you.
like I get these things where I just like start tweaking out because I say it every time. Oh, I was gonna pick these games, but I didn't, and obviously I didn't. Um, so what were we at before? I think we were at like 50. You were 2 points ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you were 63 and I was 61 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, some of that.
So the Wednesday games come around, you do very bad. I think you only got 2 right or something like that.
Dang, really? On Wednesday?
Yeah, because you had
Dang.
63 and then you went up to 65. And
Dang.
then
Well, there was a lot of ties, yeah, for sure.
yeah, and
For
then I
sure.
got 4. So that brought me up to 65. So we ended up 65 ending the Wednesday games. And then we went into Saturday, and I'm gonna mention the games. I'm gonna get
All
out of
right.
it
Go for it. Go for
before
it.
I leak the Discord messages, because it wasn't popping up the thing, so I had to go on Discord to pop up the thing. But so we went into Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't gonna have time to make the graphics, so I was like, "Hey, let me hurry up and send these messages." I looked at the first 2 games. There was 3 games I looked at. So I looked at the first 2 games. I was like, "Oh, I keep psyching myself out. I told myself I need to stop hating on Toronto. I just need to keep hating on Toronto. I should have picked Atlanta." And then I looked
Dude,
at Montreal and New York City, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, "Oh, Montreal,
made you
man, I don't
debate it,
know."
yeah.
I was thinking about it, but I'm like, it's New York City. Montreal's a bit, we already said they've only won 2 games. And guess who you already know. Who did they beat the last 2 games?
Who,
They're
Montreal?
only 2 wins. Yeah.
New York City.
No, well,
Or
yeah,
the
they
Red
beat the
Bull.
New York Red Bulls
The Red
twice.
Bulls, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then now they play New York City and they beat them again. The 3 games they've won have been against New
Jeez.
York teams, so I should have known. But yeah, I went
Jeez.
obviously New York City. So I was thinking of going Montreal, and then the other one that I was a bit like questioning was San Diego versus Portland because San Diego has been playing,
Yeah.
pretty bad. But I thought, oh, maybe they'll come back. They'll get
They,
into the
they were in San Diego, too.
yeah, they'll get into the rhythm of things, and they didn't. They ended up losing to the Portland Timbers. I don't know what's going on with San Diego. It's been a bit of a downhill spiral since the beginning of the season. They started off pretty well, and I don't know what it is. It's the
Yeah, I
freaking
know.
Chucky curse is coming in and
Chucky
taking them.
curse.
So I just wish I would have picked the 3 games and that I was thinking, and it would have been good for me. But
Yeah, you would
you
have
know
been on
how it
top at
is.
that point, yeah.
Second guess myself, but it's fine. It is what
You
it
gotta,
is.
it's because you go with your heart, dude. You gotta, actually, those would
Not
have been
even though
heart
that
choices.
those were
Those would have been
like,
heart
yeah,
choices.
yeah, because like I
You had to
did
stop
actually
thinking
go
with your
against San
head.
Diego twice, and I just thought there's no way they do it 3 times in a row, right? And
Yeah, I
they did.
know.
So
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Montreal can't really. I wouldn't bet my life savings on them. Same thing with Atlanta, but
Yeah, it's a tough one,
even
dude.
the I can't think of a quote. Screw it.
Yeah, I mean there was so many crazy games, but I mean you're still not far off. So, what you can see there is that any given week anybody can get ahead. Because yeah, I can have a week where I literally have 2 right, and then you can have a lot more than me, and so you just never know what happens, man. Honestly, this league is so unpredictable that anybody can really, honestly, at this point, kind of be a runner up at this point. So, but let's get into some of these games, man. We won't go into everything because obviously there was a lot between Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday, crazy start to the day. 4-4 New York City and Cincy, 4-1 Orlando Charlotte, 4-4 Red Bulls DC, 3-3
3-3.
Toronto
Ooh.
Philly. So tons of goals the first half of the day. So it was kind of wild to kind of see that, but if we're kind of looking at one of these to kind of kick us off into the kind of the conversations here, I wanted to look at New York City FC, man. So On Wednesday, they tie against FC Cincinnati. And then on Saturday, they lose, like you mentioned, 1-0 against Montreal. The crazy thing about those is that I think when you kind of look at these games, you're thinking, okay, New York City should have won these games, especially with the FC Cincinnati one, because they were actually ahead up until about the 80th minute. And Cincinnati came back in the 92nd and 95th minute of this game. So New York City botched that one. And then in the Montreal game, Prince Owosu scores in like the 17th minute and basically just locks it in for the rest of the game. So it's kind of interesting, man, when you kind of look at New York City FC, strong team, what's been going on the past, I think it's like 6 games. They haven't won a game. So what's going on with this team? Why are they not, playing very well? Personally, I think it's a slump. Don't worry too much about it. But I'm curious on what your thoughts are because, like you said, you were debating
Mm-hmm.
Montreal with New York City.
Mm-hmm. The last time they won a game in the MLS was the 14th of March
Mm-hmm.
because they won the 14th against Westchester in the US Open Cup. And I don't know so they played Inter Miami. I would say that's a difficult game. They played
Yeah.
against Vancouver, difficult game. They tied against St. Louis, probably should have won that game. Charlotte, kind of a, 50-50 game. They lose that one. Cincinnati, they tie. Like you said, they should have won. I don't know what happened at the end. I believe maybe you watched it. I didn't. But they should have won this game. There's no reason you should be giving up 2 goals in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You should honestly just do what Atletico Madrid does and sit back, just
Yeah,
defend
park the bus.
for your life.
Yeah.
And losing against Montreal, very unfortunate. Red card in the 78th minute, so they should have been able to at least have a few chances on goal. But from what I'm looking at in these stats, they just haven't been, shooting very well. They have a lot of possession against Montreal, just no
Yeah.
shots. 4 shots,
Mm-hmm.
2 on target. Montreal had more shots on target than New York City FC had just shots. And looks
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, against Charlotte, they had a decent amount of shots. They had 22, but only 3 on target. So I don't know what's going on with this front line, but they need to figure it out soon. Um, but yeah, like you said, I think it's just a slump. I think they'll get back into the hang of things. Obviously LAFC is going through a similar thing where they're kind of down,
Sure.
but I
From what's
mean,
expected.
yeah, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
they'll get back into the rhythm of things. It's just sort of how the season goes. You start up high, and then you kind of, lose a bit of that momentum, and then
Mm-hmm.
you bring it back up. So I'm not too worried about them, but yeah, they probably need to get things going here soon.
Yeah, no, and it is interesting, man. I don't understand really kind of like what's been kind of holding this team back. To be honest, I think they just need to finish games, like you kind of mentioned. It's one of those things where you have a very good striker with Nico Fernandez. You have a very good midfield with Maxi Morales and a couple other guys on there. But for some reason, man, it's just like they can't really maintain the entire game. At some point, your defense has to play some defense and
Hmm.
not get cards, not get booked, and just kind of not expect Matt Freese to just save everything at the end of the day. Because honestly, he's been playing pretty well. I wouldn't say he hasn't had a ton of clean sheets this year, but he's playing pretty good for my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of getting scored on, but I don't think it's all him. I think it's just the back line's
yeah.
just kind of falling apart late in the game. So
He was
a
the
little
worst rated player in the game against Cincinnati, though. I don't know. I didn't watch the game,
Yeah, I
so.
think it's probably because of the comeback
Hmm.
that they had, and then the penalty at the very end. I mean, that
Yeah.
doesn't help his case.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's tough, and like you said too, like possession's great, but at the end of the day, like you need to be able to score, not just be able to hold the ball. I noticed a little bit of an interesting comment on here too, where it's like this city football group style of play with Pep Guardiola. The whole keep the ball tiki taka thing. Is that something that can actually work in the MLS? The MLS is fairly fast paced. It's not exactly a possession league. It's very like kick and run, just kind of
Yeah.
go, 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 go.
That's what
So can that work? I don't know.
yeah. And I'm so used to that, what you would consider Pep ball.
Yeah.
Barcelona is literally just all pass, pass, like to the point where I'm like, hey, like you need to shoot the ball. You can't just pass because they'll be in front of goal and still passing it. So,
Hmm.
I don't know how much that would work here. Like you said, it's always just kick and run. So,
Yeah.
We'll see how
It'll
it is.
evolve. It'll
Yeah.
evolve. I think the game will evolve here at some point, but right now it's just very
Yeah, I
highly just
think
go, go, go.
I think the way that would change is instead of bringing players from Europe, you bring in coaches, to kind of change up the
Yeah.
style of play. Maybe that helps some teams, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But it
New York
starts
City,
younger.
bro.
Yeah. No, for sure. It'll be interesting to watch these guys come back. They do have a very interesting game this week, actually. So the U.S. Open Cup starts this week as well. New York City takes on New York Red Bulls in the Hudson River rivalry for the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. Fans are already calling it the clash of the useless because both New York teams are in terrible form right now. So,
Freaking New York tied against DC United 4-4 on Wednesday too. That's funny.
yeah, so it's a little bit interesting right now with the New York teams. At the end of the day, I would always love to watch. I would love to watch this game live, like both of these New
Hmm.
York teams take each other on. But it is a bit sad; they're not necessarily in the best of forms. But we'll get into the U.S. Open here in a little bit. Before kind of getting into that, we'll get into a couple of these other games. Another team that maybe most people are kind of discussing, and that you kind of mentioned as well, having a bit of a slump. San Diego FC, man, losing on Wednesday to Houston Dynamo 1-0. The goal in that game came in the 35th minute, and then they also lost on Saturday against Portland Timbers 2-1, where that one was a little bit closer. It was kind of like Timbers scored in the 26th, San Diego scores in the 33rd, and then Timbers get it late in the 96th minute or so. So it's a bit interesting, man. I mean, we've mentioned this a couple times, like the sophomore slump. They started off great, didn't do very good at the very end. Or sorry, recently they haven't been doing very good. Is the Chucky thing weighing on everybody's minds? I've actually seen a lot of things online too where people are saying like, "Hey, does this team need Chucky Lozano back?" Like, I have to ask the question, like, what do you think? Do you think they should bring him back, or what does that kind of look like if they were to consider it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they need more help on the attack, but I don't think Chucky is the guy for it. I feel like the way things have gone, it's just not going to help the team. They're better off without him, just due to the situation that has happened. They do need to figure something out. Unfortunately for them, he was one of their most expensive players, takes up a DP spot, and he's
Yeah.
sort of just sitting around because the Mexico coach told him, I don't know how true this is. I saw an article. I don't know if you've seen it, but he went up to Chucky. He's like, "Hey, like, I want you in this World Cup. Like, I want you to play, but I
Oh, the
need you
Mexican
play."
coach?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was like, "But I need you playing, so I would need you to leave San Diego because if you're there,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna
Yeah, yeah,
play."
yeah.
And Chucky's like,
I did see this.
"Well, they're paying me more than anybody else is gonna pay me, so why would I leave?" So it sounds like he chose money over actual playing
Yeah,
time. So again, sucks for San Diego because now they have him on the payroll. They're not able to go out and spend money that they need to help bolster this team. They played really well last year. They started the season, kind of similar form as they ended the season
yeah,
last year, and things have just been going downhill. And I think this is more of, I don't know, I don't want to say like what I would expect from them because obviously they've only had 1 year and that 1 year they had was really good.
yeah,
So I think this is very normal and they'll level themselves out. We're just coming from a season where they're basically winning every single game that this happening now seems a bit off. But they're
yeah,
still kind of getting the hang of themselves as a club and as a team. And I mean, everything's going to get thrown off because they played so well, and this Chucky stuff happened at the end of the season, so it kind of bled into this season. So,
yeah.
I think once they get that figured out, everything should be going pretty well, and hopefully Chucky leaves them alone.
I know it is an interesting thing too, because I think at this point, like, I don't think I could really respect San Diego FC if they were to bring him back, if they brought Chucky back,
Yeah.
because I think that kind of looks bad, for the organization as a whole. because now it's one of those decisions where we're doing so badly, we just want to win no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. Like we don't really care in terms of like what the team culture is, what we stand for as a as a club. We just want to win, and if they bring Chucky back, it's gonna look like you guys really don't care. You're just gonna
Mm-hmm.
bring somebody in to get some dubs. You know what I mean? So I think it'd be a really bad look if Chucky came back, unless Chucky comes out and says something like, "Hey, like I was a lot of this is because of me, my fault. I apologize. Like I need to do better. I know I'm gonna do this and that, and whatever." And they mutually agree on it, and then he comes back, and that's cool. Like that's perfect. There you go. You get a great striker back, and you're probably back in the running. But yeah, like you said, dude, it's so weird too. Like I don't know. Chucky's got some major balls, bro, because he's just hanging around he's hanging around the training facility. Like he
Yeah.
just doesn't care. You know what I mean? So you can obviously tell he's got some mental, or not mental, but he's got like some attitude problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't leave to go like get some playing time and then play for the national team in the World Cup, like he just wants to coast on that $7 million a year salary. Like, dang, bro, like that says a lot about you as a person, man. That sucks. So
Yeah. That was the
crazy.
one thing that I saw. I'm like, bro, that's crazy. Honestly, if I was San Diego, I would just like cut him, buy out his contract, whatever you got to do to make sure that he can't be around the
Yeah.
team anymore. Like you-
Yeah.
you're paying him anyways, he's getting
Hmm.
paid, but now he's like like you said, hanging around, maybe distracting the players, doing whatever these issues are. Just cut him, buy out his contract. He's gonna stay there and take the money no matter what. So it's better to just pay him what he's gonna get and get him out of the team, and don't
Yeah.
even have to worry about that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, too, as a club, like as a team, they probably need to do some things differently, because I have noticed in like the
Mhm.
past, almost all the games this season, they've ran the 4-3-3, and they're trying to play out the back the entire, like every single game, they're trying to kind of play the same type of ball. Maybe it's time to switch things up a little bit and move some people around and kind of see what
Mhm.
happens there. Again, I'm not like an expert on that. It's just kind of what I've been seeing. I'm assuming teams are doing the research on San Diego and they know how to combat what they're trying to do. So, you need to do something differently to throw some of the teams off. So, but again, like you said, I don't think it's a permanent thing. It's just a little slump. So,
Yeah, the the way they started, I can't see them being this bad from here on out.
yeah,
It's sort of
exactly.
how Atlanta started really strong. They had a few good years and then they dropped off. I feel like San Diego will get something figured out, especially with having Dryer in your team. He's
Hmm.
he's eventually gonna lock in. Last year he was pretty much second for MVP. He was.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
They'll probably for sure make it to the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Another one that we kind of wanted to go over, one of the teams, one of the only teams that got a win on both Wednesday and Saturday. Um, Arguably the hottest team in the league right now, man. Everybody's talking about these guys now. The San Jose Earthquakes, dude. The absolute story of the league at the moment. They're just winning. Honestly, that's kind of like the best way to put it. Bruce Arena has orchestrated a 6-game win streak that has the Quakes sitting at the top of the Supporters Shield table with an 8-1-0 record. So these guys are balling out right now, dude. Top of the Western Conference, top of the Supporters Shield. They're looking pretty good. They have a Toronto team up next, but they beat, you're looking at this last week, they beat Austin 5-1, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, those 5 goals came all in the second half. Let me just double
Yeah,
check.
they did because I remember they were
Yeah.
losing to Austin, and I was like, "There's no way that they're gonna
Yeah.
lose to Austin." And um, I think the Inter Miami game was going on around the same time, or like was going like the Inter Miami game ended and then that game
Yeah.
started. But I saw it was 1-0, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Dude, these guys are actually gonna lose." And
I
then
know.
I lose track of time. I go back and it's 5-1. I'm like, "What
I
the hell
know.
happened?"
I know, dude. I was ready to go to bed because it was such a
Yeah.
late game, and I checked the score one last time. It was like 5-1. I was like, "There's
Yeah.
no way." They had 37 total shots in this game against Austin. So absolutely nuts, bro. These guys are just lighting it up. And then they had a bit of a closer game on Saturday against St. Louis. They still
Mhm.
won 3-2. St. Louis got some very, very quick goals in this game, but at the end of the day, they finished it off in the 83rd minute. I will say this for me, this is a very great team. I thought they were going to be great last year after offloading all that talent. It's surprising to me that they're doing so well this year, but I'm going to have to give a little shout out, dude. A little correct player to Timó Werner, dude. The guy cannot do very well in where was he at last in the
He
Bundesliga?
was he was with Leipzig.
Leipzig, right? He's Bundesliga. He
Hmm.
probably wasn't doing very well back then, but the guy's an absolute cheat code in the MLS right now. The guy's been lighting it up for this team. He had a goal on Wednesday and 2 goals on Saturday. He scored in the 69th and the 83rd. He put away the penalty at the end of the game to win against St. Louis. So the guy's been doing well, man. I mean, like the saying goes, one person's trash and is another person's treasure. And San Jose has found their treasure in Timó Werner. And I think he's doing what he's got to do. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I don't think anybody expected Timó Werner to come into the MLS and be, some guy that's just going to be like scoring a ton of goals and in the race for the golden boot. You know what I mean? He's in here getting like some assists. He's going to go a couple goals here and there. And like, yeah, you kind of see him like take some one-on-ones, like some one-on-one shots like in the games.
Hmm.
And he kind of like messes up and you're like, well, yeah, like he's not great, but he's doing what he's got to do in the MLS and for San Jose and they're winning games. So hats off to Timó Werner, dude. He's lining up, and this San Jose team is just
Hmm.
unreal right
Yeah.
now.
And then I remember when he first joined, so his first game was against Atlanta. He only played 29 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and he got an assist. And he's played 8 games for San Jose, and he's only lost one, and that was against the Seattle Sounders, and that was the first game he ever started. But ever since those first few minutes, besides the Seattle and the Vancouver Whitecaps game, he's either had a goal or an assist or both.
Wow.
So he's been playing really well. I think me and you talked about we were expecting him to do well, especially once he got more minutes, once he got a bit into more match fitness. Because coming into this, he had only played before he joined San Jose. He only played 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So he was slowing down, but he came in, hit the wheels, and started running or whatever, whatever I said last time. So
That's
yeah,
funny, bro.
this guy's popping off. Currently, favorite to win the MVP, right? Probably at this
Probably.
point.
It's definitely in the running with
It's
Messi.
very early on for winning MVP. Maybe only behind Musa, who has been,
Yeah.
playing lights out for Dallas. So yeah, I don't know. Werner has always been a good player. I used him in FIFA like 3 years ago. He had this crazy card, bro. So
Yeah, I mean, he lit it up back in the day when he
yeah,
was probably with Chelsea, right? But
with Tottenham.
with Tottenham, there you go.
Hmm.
Okay. And then I guess the downfall was with Chelsea, then and then with Leipzig, and then now he's here. He's been
Well,
resurrected in the MLS.
well,
So,
he played for Leipzig, then he went to Chelsea, won the Champions League with them, then he went to Tottenham, and then he went to Leipzig again, actually. So
okay, gotcha.
yeah, he's been all over the place. When he was coming to the MLS, I'm surprised he didn't join the New York Red Bulls because
Right.
Leipzig and
We were debating that
New York
before,
Red
yeah.
Bulls. Yeah. So I mean, New York messed up, bro. Red Bull, you
Yeah.
messed up. You should have kept him
Yeah,
and brought
that's
him to your
true.
own team because look what he's doing: 3 goals, 4 assists, and whatever,
8
however many
games.
games, 8 games. Yeah, so
Yeah. 8 appearances.
eight
He hasn't even started
appearances.
everything. So,
Yeah, so you guys
um,
messed up, boy.
but this is one of those things, man. Like, is this the top team in California? Like, this is a crazy San Jose team. And when you think about it, like, yeah, you have San Diego in a bit of a slump. You have LA
Hmm.
Galaxy as well in a bit of a
Hmm.
slump. They did get a win this last week, this last weekend.
Yep.
But the only other team in California that's competing right now is LAFC.
Yeah.
Even them, a little rocky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a couple games here and there, you were like, oh wow, they tied. Oh wow, they only won by one. Like a little bit sketchy. But you look at San Jose, it's like Dude, they're playing hella good. They're playing like a freaking team out there. Are they the team to beat in California and in the West right now?
I forgot what TikTok we posted, but somebody commented, obviously a San Jose fan, and said something that I didn't realize, but they were bottom of the West last year, right? They were like the
Yep.
worst team,
Wooden spoon, dude.
wooden spoon. So this past game that they won, it was the exact same starting lineup they had last year, besides Timó Werner's only difference. So I don't
Really?
know if you saw that comment, but
No.
I was
I mean,
like,
that's interesting because
hmm
they did offload like Joseph Martinez,
hmm
Espinoza, and
yeah.
Chicho. But
Well,
I'm sure
that, that's
most
that's
of the
that's
team is
what
the
that's
same.
what the San Jose fan in the TikTok comment said. So if
Oh,
that's a
I didn't see it.
lie, he lied to me. So,
Gotcha.
but I mean, yeah, it's very interesting. Obviously, they did offload pretty much their entire attack, but honestly,
Judd and
you know what it
Takiris
is.
are freaking balling out with Timó Werner. So
Sometimes you gotta get rid of the gold to get some diamond.
yeah, exactly, dude. Guess so. But yeah, it's a very exciting team right now. They're doing very well. Last couple of things that we can kind of mention on some of these games. We'll kind of get into this one too. I just want to mention it because we are local to the state of Utah, for those of you that don't know. But if you don't know, Messi was in town on Wednesday, and I think everybody in this state made some comment about it. On Instagram, people were talking about it. On Facebook, people were talking about it. I don't really use Twitter or X, so I'm sure there was a lot of people on there. Dude, my LinkedIn, you know what LinkedIn is? My
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn was blowing up on people being like, "We watched Messi." I was like, "Oh my god, this is fucking crazy, dude." So, obviously they lost. RSL lost 2-0 against Inter Miami. Good game at the end of the day. I thought, honestly, Real Salt Lake had some chances at the beginning of this game where they came off pretty hot, and I was thinking, dang, they could probably win this, but they were offsides a couple times, fouls a couple times here and there. Ref got in the way a couple times here and there, but good showing, I thought. What are your thoughts on the game on Wednesday with Messi coming into town in the state of Utah?
My thoughts are I should have gone. Um, yeah, like you said, it was crazy. Like I had people talking to me about soccer over the weekend at my wife's family, like, hey, like Messi was here. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm like,
We do a podcast on it, dude.
yeah,
We've been talking about it for months.
yeah. And then my wife's family lives like 20 minutes from Harriman, is the city out here in Utah where they were training at the RSL facility.
Yeah.
So they were like, everybody was just talking about it, like he's here, he's in town. It's kind of like Santa Claus, you better look out, or whatever, however that song
You
goes, he's
better
coming to
watch out.
town. Yeah. um but crazy game, very cold, as you could tell. I don't You could see some of these
Yeah.
Miami players, especially DePaul, was feeling the cold coming into the
Dude,
second
he
half.
looked cold, bro.
Yeah.
He looked uncomfortable.
The way he hit that ball made it seem like, hey, let's just get out of here. So,
Yeah, no joke.
but like you said, I think RSL started very well. They were playing well coming into this game. I feel like they could have won this game. Solanas had a few chances. St. Clair, again, very iffy, very scary to watch play. Same thing with the defense. I don't know what it is with these defenders, but they just don't bring any confidence. So I'm surprised that it even ended 2-0.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like one thing I noticed, maybe it's just me, but everybody on that field knew the whole world was watching.
Yeah.
Not It's not very often that people from Europe are watching a game happening in Utah. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there was quite a few people just because Messi was there. And I feel like maybe some of these players had a bit of a head loss in trying to be individual and kind of not show off. I don't want to say show off, but maybe, there were some things that were done that could have been done better. And maybe those thoughts of just like, dang, everybody's watching, I gotta make
Yeah.
a spectacle out of this, like show off what I can do. So
Sure.
maybe some of that got into their heads and affected it. I don't know if you think that's what it is. I still think they played well. I just feel like maybe some of that got into their heads, and some of these chances that could have been finished probably had a bit more pressure than usual.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. I think two things from that game. I think they lost their heads.
Hmm.
The lights were bright,
Mhm.
And this is what I mentioned last time on the last episode is, when you get into games like this where RSL is in a very good position, Miami's a very strong team, this is a very high caliber game and everybody's going to be watching, you kind of tend to lose your head a little bit. You kind of do things probably not the way that you would be doing them just because of the magnitude of the game, right? So I think they lost their heads a little bit. They definitely could have won this game in my opinion. And then two, I think Miami did their research. Like they watched film. You know what I mean? Like they knew that RSL was going to come and press hard. And like we said last week, don't get caught because if you get caught, if you get tired, you're gonna get burned. And they got burned multiple times in this game. So I get it, dude. I love the press. I love it when teams do it. It's exciting. It's fun to watch. But when you can't hold it up for the full 90 and when you can't get the ball back very, very quickly, you're just wasting energy, dude. So I think Miami knew that was going to happen and they just waited and they possessed the crap out of Real Salt Lake because all Real Salt Lake wants to do is get to goal, you know what I mean? They can't
Mhm.
really ping the ball as much. So, it is what it is. They lost the game. I wish they would have won. Amazing goals by Inter Miami. Rodrigo De Paul, that goal was absolutely
Banger.
insane, dude. Freaking banger. Now it's gonna be interesting to see the response because now Real Salt Lake has lost against LA Galaxy 2-1 on Sunday, and the league doesn't slow down for anybody, dude. So get out of this slump. You lost a big game. We get it. Like, don't lose your head.
Mhm.
Get out and get back into doing what you do best and figure it out because you don't want to you don't want to go and lose three more. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. And then, I mean, speaking of RSL losing, which the only reason they got a goal was because of an own goal. So,
I know, I know.
and
Speaking of the game, speaking of Sunday night soccer.
Sunday night, I just wanted to shout out a quick little player, bro. The German takeover. This is what
Ooh,
it would have looked like if Germany won the World War. Nothing but Germans taking over the U.S. over here. Freaking Marco Reus, Timo Werner. Um, See, this is like the Galaxy, they can win games. They just need to
yeah.
lock in as a team. Obviously, Royce scores a banger.
Do you have
9 minutes into the game. I don't have it up. I
dude? You
can
got to
find
find it.
it.
I'll talk.
Um,
While you look, dude, I was watching some of this game just because I was also wondering, can we also like bounce back against not a very good Galaxy team? But if you know anything about Real Salt Lake, if you've been a fan of Real Salt Lake or been a fan of like Utah sports, California has our number. California teams always come and show out against Real Salt Lake, against the Jazz, against the Mammoth. Doesn't matter who it is, which by the way, the Mammoth are playing right now. They always come and they show out against us. So I don't know what it is, man. Galaxy, I was debating this one. I know I texted you and I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you I wanted RSL. But I was debating this one and I was like, oh, should
I
I go with Galaxy? I don't know.
I also debated this one. I was gonna pick the Galaxy, but I just felt with RSL playing as well as they did, I didn't. I they lost to Miami, but I was pretty certain that was gonna happen. Like
Yeah, yeah.
as much as I like RSL, I'm always gonna back Messi first. But I was just like the Galaxy's been playing somewhat bad. They have the ability to, which they did. They have the ability to beat honestly any team in this league besides maybe San Jose, LAFC, Vancouver, and Miami and
Yeah.
Nashville. But they should be able to beat every single team. But when you come out here and you're scoring goals like these, like what can you do? Look at this.
Pinche
Cabral's just
golazo.
Cabral just
Pinche.
Cabral was like me watching this game, bro, just sitting there watching, dude. He didn't even try.
I know
So I
that's a
mean, yeah,
impossible to get, bro.
yeah. I'm like, I don't think I could have stopped that if you had three people in goal, you know. But I mean,
Yeah.
Royce, amazing player, one of the greatest German players in the history of German soccer, who unfortunately was ruined by injury, but he's out
Yeah.
here in the MLS doing his thing. So I just want to shout him out as my crack player. Hopefully the LA Galaxy can turn things around. Let's see. I want to see the table real quick because I don't know exactly where they're sitting, but they're currently
Yeah.
10th, just outside of the playoffs. If they keep this going and actually win the games that they need to win, And by that, I mean beating everybody besides maybe the top 3 teams. They should be able to beat every single one of those teams. They should be able to get into the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, anything goes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's we
Records are
saw
out
it.
the
We
out of
we
the
saw
window.
it
Yeah.
with Inter Miami 2 years ago, going up against Atlanta United, who wasn't the best team, but they come out here and they lose 2 games in the first round. So get into the playoffs, and then anything goes from there. So shout
Yeah.
out Marco Royce, shout out the Galaxy, shout out RSL. Lock back in.
Lock it in, dude. Yeah, so we'll kind of end the overview there. Looking at the table, we do have the Eastern table is a little bit interesting. Nashville obviously sitting up top in first place, Inter Miami in second, Chicago in third, New England in fourth place, Charlotte in fifth, and then I guess we can kind of go down to the the teams that are going to be in playoff contention at the moment. We'd have Toronto, New York City, Columbus, and then FC Cincinnati. So bit of an interesting, Eastern Conference. I think we would have looked at things a little bit differently at the beginning of the season. And now that it's here, it's very different than what we thought.
For sure.
So very interesting there. Western Conference, we have San Jose leading the pack, Vancouver, LAFC, Seattle, Minnesota, Real Salt Lake, Colorado, Dallas, and Houston. And like you said, LA Galaxy's knocking on the door. So bit of an interesting Western Conference as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens for the rest of the remaining season. To kind of turn the tables a little bit here, turn things around, I did want to get into the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which, by the way, if you haven't been paying attention, the semifinals are here for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Wow. On Tuesday, tomorrow, what's that meme? I have a basketball game tomorrow. You don't know it?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know. My
It's
name
funny.
is he says his name and I got a basketball game tomorrow. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we got a game on Tuesday and a game on Wednesday. So Tuesday we have Nashville taking on Tigres in Geodis Park. Nashville right now is the ultimate giant killer. After grounding out a 0-0 draw at home against Club America, they knocked out America. They now face Tigres. And I mean, they're top of the Eastern Conference. They're looking good. They also knocked out your beloved Miami. Can Nashville park the bus and pray? Can that strategy work against Tigres in this game on Tuesday?
Any team I support forgets how to play whenever the word champions is part of the league. You know what I mean? Like, I
You're
don't know
just
what
a
it is,
sad
man.
Barcelona fan, bro.
I just don't know what it is, man. They don't know how to lock in. I have 2 hate watch semifinals I need to watch. One on Wednesday, one tomorrow. So I hope they both lose. I hope they don't win anything to end the season. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I honestly do think with the way Nashville has been playing, they can beat this Tigres team. Let's see how Tigres is doing. They're 7th in
they're 7th right now in Liga
MX.
MX. Yeah.
The most competitive game I can see, but they are on a bit of a downward spiral. Is LAFC,
Yep.
Toluca, and LAFC. You'd think maybe one of those two could be the champions. Whoever wins. But the way LAFC has been playing, it'll be hard for me to see them beating Toluca, especially with how strong Toluca has been playing. I do think Nashville might win this game against Tigres. I don't want them to.
Yeah.
But if they do, I would want LAFC to win, go to the final, and then have LAFC win. Because I don't want Nashville to win, but I want an MLS team to win. So that would be the best outcome for me. But yeah, I think if I had to guess, it's probably a Nashville Toluca final with the way things are looking right now.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's interesting. I think it is 2 games in this one.
Yeah,
right? I do believe they have a home and away. So yeah, both MLS teams will be at home this week, and I believe next week they play again. So the Mexico teams will be home next week. LAFC does take on Toluca on Wednesday in Los Angeles. LAFC, obviously one of the favorites at the beginning to win this one and the MLS. But now I think that Liga MX fear is definitely in right now. I can definitely see Tigres and Toluca both winning and having just a Liga MX final. Um, as far as right now, those are the only two teams that have actually won the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and LAFC and Nashville have not. I believe one of them has been in the final before.
LAFC.
I want to say LAFC. Yeah, so LAFC's been in the final before. They've obviously not won it, so it will be interesting to see who wins these first two games. I'm still in the camp of Nashville beating Tigres very non-sexily and beating them like 1-0. And then LAFC, I think LAFC gets it done because I think Toluca has shown that they can bleed this year. It's not the exact same team that had, 3 league wins a couple years ago. But like, I think we can still have Nashville versus LAFC in the final. It's going to be tough. And I think, like you said, the toughest one is going to be Toluca, especially going into Toluca for that second game. But for me, you got LAFC Nashville in the final, bro.
Yeah, dude. We can't have Seattle be the only MLS team to have won the Champions Cup. So if LAFC does manage to make the final this year, this will be their third attempt to try and win this. They actually made it to the final in 2020 against Tigres, and they made the final in 2023 against León, and they lost both of those. So let's just say in the last from 2020 to 2025, we've had 4 MLS finalists, and they've all lost besides the Seattle Sounders. So the MLS has been making that push to try and win this competition. They just can't get it done for whatever reason. So hopefully both MLS teams win, and we can for sure be guaranteed that there will be an MLS champion. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these games. And in a month from now, we'll be seeing who wins the Champions Cup.
There we go. We'll definitely take a look, man. So that'll be a fun one to keep track of. There's also another cup going on. So the U.S. Open Cup round of 16 is also this week. We have games on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. So lots of MLS action, lots of soccer action during the week, which I absolutely love. Probably the headliner that we mentioned a little bit earlier in the episode, the Hudson River Derby, which for those of you that don't know, is the two New York teams. New York Red Bulls against New York City FC Wednesday, April 29th for the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. So both teams are struggling a little bit right now. New York City is winless in their last 6, and this trophy is more of a, trophy chase. It's kind of I wouldn't necessarily say it's like something that everybody wants to look for. But you never know what can happen with these two teams playing each other. There is a couple other USL teams in the mix right now, as well as the lone Cinderella story USL League One team. So the Columbus Crew will take on one Knoxville SC, which is a USL League One team. Dude, they beat DC United in penalty shootouts this last round. Can they beat the Columbus Crew, which, by the way, I believe they're on a 3-game winning streak right now, so they're coming back. But Columbus not the same team as they were last year, my guy. Mm-hmm. Can they lose to a USL League One team, Knoxville?
Yes, sir. I mean, honestly, looking at these squads, these MLS teams, Knoxville probably has the best team to play against right now for a chance to win. Maybe Orlando or Atlanta, actually. I see those teams. But yeah, like you said, the Crew hasn't been the same team. They've won 2 games in a row now. One against the LA Galaxy and one against Philly, who have both been bad. But, I mean, Knoxville can probably do this.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bet on them unless I was trying to lose my money, but they could do it. And they have a really sick logo, so hopefully they do.
They're currently second in the League One, USL League One. So they've gone, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games without losing. So they're doing pretty good, man. 1.29 goals per match. Goals conceded only 0.86. So they don't give up a lot of goals. So they could be in a bit of a bit of an interesting matchup here against Columbus. So I love rooting for the underdog. So if if Knoxville wins this game, that'll be nuts, bro. That gets me excited. So we also have Houston Dynamo taking on USL team Louisville City FC, and we actually have a Rocky Mountain Derby for Colorado Rapids taking on the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, the USL team. So that one's a bit of an interesting one because, we know Kansas City hasn't been doing very well, but Colorado Switchbacks did beat Kansas City 3-0 in the last round. So definitely showing that they're not afraid of MLS teams. That one, I'm gonna watch that one because any city state rivalries are very cool to watch. So I'll be interested to see how that one goes, man. That one looks to be pretty good.
That one's Wednesday. Are all these games Wednesday? Yes, they are.
I think
Besides
so.
the San Jose, Minnesota's tomorrow, and Atlanta actually. Other than that, it's all on Wednesday.
Gotcha. Yeah, so those will be good to watch, dude. We do have Charlotte, Atlanta, Chicago, St. Louis, and the New England, Orlando. So yeah, most of these are going to be on Wednesday. But hopefully one of the either USL or USL League One teams will go forward into the next round. But it's just going to be one of those things too, where it's like, dang, like either Columbus or Houston. I highly doubt Colorado Rapids lose, but either Columbus or Houston will lose, and they're going to just be that laughing stock of the town, man. They're going to be like, dang, you guys lost to who? So this will be fun to watch.
I don't even know who Houston's playing. Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville City, the USL team. So there, let me take a quick peek at these guys. Louisville.
They're first in the championship.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, so that's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah, they're first right now. 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So that's gonna be interesting, brother. I mean, if anyone's getting upset, it's Houston.
Honestly, if I were to watch any of these games, it'd definitely be the MLS versus these USL teams, just because it's a bit of a different. You're not just watching an MLS matchup, so those games will be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna make an effort to watch this Columbus Crew Knoxville game on Wednesday. So
there you go, nice. Heck yeah, man! It's probably gonna be later in the day, so you can watch it. Or you just thought of something that you have to do, so now you're busy.
Yeah, my daughter's game is at that time, so I'm gonna miss it.
Well, you can go to the game and then just stream it on your phone, dude.
Yeah, no, I like to watch the kids, bro.
There you go. I know it is fun. My kid plays on Saturdays too. It's fun. Solid stuff. So that's mainly the stuff that I wanted to get into for this episode. One thing too that I wanted to mention before we kind of end the episode, because this has been coming up a couple times. A lot of stories and talk coming out of Vancouver, of Canada, for the Vancouver Whitecaps. We've discussed this last year as well.
Their stadium?
They're moving, like their whole, I believe either the stadium or just the team in general is looking to relocate. So the thing that I've seen here is just the Atlantic, from what I can see.
Yeah.
Reported that the MLS is exploring the relocation of the Vancouver Whitecaps to Los Angeles. Or sorry, to Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. I was like, bro.
Los Angeles, another one. Yeah, so MLS exploring the relocation of the Vancouver Whitecaps to Las Vegas.
Las Vegas Whitecaps, let's go.
They'd be pretty dope.
Brown Caps instead.
Says despite the Caps sitting second in the West and coming off a Cup final appearance, the revenue gap and stadium lease issues at BC Place have become unimaginable. So, the reaction is is Vancouver too small for MLS? Can the league survive losing a Canadian market right now before the 2026 World Cup?
Yes.
Bit of an interesting take. Yeah, true. Bit of an interesting take, because I don't know if you knew this, but if you go to the Canadian Premier League, there's another team in Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver FC.
Yeah. So I don't really know what the big fuss is about if they were to lose the Whitecaps. They're a great team, obviously. I don't think any city would want to lose it, but they do have Vancouver FC. From what I can see, though, they're not very good. They're not the Whitecaps. So
yeah, no, definitely not. What was this last year going into the final? Somebody at ESPN or something, they put Vancouver FC instead of the Whitecaps.
Oh, yeah.
That was the thing that was going on. What I will say is, how long has Vancouver been in the MLS?
I don't know. Wow.
Because you'll just leave Montreal and Toronto, and I feel
Yeah.
like Vancouver leaving or the Whitecaps leaving Vancouver is might set off a bit of a chain reaction where they start taking, I don't know, maybe Toronto is like, oh well, would like again you said, the how much money they're making and whatnot, but I
Yeah.
feel like you've been there long enough. You should have made a stadium. All
Yeah, I
these
know.
all these other teams are building stadiums. All these new coming teams are building stadiums. I feel like the MLS should have put more pressure on them to build the stadium to avoid something like this. The
Yeah.
MLS is so, stingy with their money because they don't want their investors coming in buying a team and then, going bankrupt or whatever it is. So I feel
Yeah.
like the MLS should have been more strict on, hey, you need to build a stadium by X amount of time. You've been in the league
Yeah.
since 2012. You've had enough time. They've been somewhat successful, more so in the last couple years than previous
Right.
years. But
Yep.
still, again, if they move to Vegas, that's not going to be a downgrade for them. It might actually even
No.
be an upgrade
Hmm.
because they can then, I would assume they'd go and play at Allegiant Stadium, is my guess.
Probably.
Because that's, they have soccer games happening there all the time, so it'd be the easiest relocation for that. But honestly, I think I'd rather still have them be in Vancouver. They can find a way to make it work because I know they want to sell the team. It's sort
Yeah.
of like the Seahawks sold the team,
Hmm.
even like, and when you're at such a high, like I said, they made it to the Champions Cup final last year. They made it to the MLS Cup final
Sell high.
last year. They're trying to sell high right now, make as much money as they possibly can, and get out of the having to build a stadium for them. And
Yeah. True.
sucks.
I think if they do end up moving to Las Vegas, that would be freaking awesome. Because I don't know if you knew this too, but like Las Vegas has a USL team, the Las
Hmm.
Vegas Lights, and they play in some stadium, a sports club in Las Vegas. It looks very small stadium, right? It's
Yeah,
not Allegiant by any means,
yeah,
but that would directly feed into Las Vegas, right? Because then you kind of look at a market where you have a USL team and an MLS team, and so you can kind of have you start building some form of an academy, some form of a just something where you can
yeah.
kind of build a pipeline, and that just kind of takes off, and then the state of Nevada just has this
Mm.
crazy soccer market that nobody would have thought,
They
so I would love to see them in Vegas.
they'll need a very big rebranding though, because Whitecaps in Vancouver and the Whitecaps in Vegas are two very different things. So.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what they would do. The Vegas cigarette butts. The Vegas.
The
the
Vegas,
type it into Gemini and see like, hey, um, what would a MLS team in Las Vegas? What should an MLS team in Las Vegas be named? What would be the best names? I'm just curious what it would spit out, and then watch it get relocated to Vegas and them do the same thing. And then we see all these options on. This is what we're debating.
let's see. Why are you looking? The Las Vegas villains, the Las Vegas
Ooh,
heroes.
ooh, the Las Vegas villains, dude, that would
This
be
is currently the
sick.
front runner for a potential expansion team. It was
The villains?
trademarked by the villains by West Edens and Nassif Sawiris, who co-own the Premier League Aston Villa, hence the villain's
Oh,
name. So, and it actually does talk about how the current relocation rumors of the Vancouver Whitecaps and stuff. So,
dude, that would be sick. You know how like easily you could partner with like Disney and do some crazy stuff with the jerseys and do like a Scar jersey, like
ooh,
you know what I mean, like or
yeah.
something like what's another good villain in I don't know. I'm just saying like that would be sick. Las Vegas villains? Are you kidding me? That's dope as
Mm.
hell, dude. I'm sorry, Vancouver. I'm sorry, Whitecaps, but the villains, dude, that'd be dope.
Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. I would just mind it for the historical reasons of it. But
For
other
sure.
than that,
For sure. Yeah,
who
it is what
cares,
it is,
bro?
man.
Vancouver, you suck, dude. You can't win anything.
You guys lost 6-0 to Cruz Azul.
Ugh.
Oh
And you
man.
lost to Miami.
Yeah, dude.
Ugh.
Come on. Cool stuff, man. So that's all we had for the episode. Plenty of stuff going on right now. Lots of games for this week. Plenty more for this weekend. And, we'll right back at it next week. So, again, if you haven't already subscribed, followed, we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Give us a follow, give us some comments. Let us know if the information that we are providing is of value to you and that you enjoy it. And if you don't, say something as well. We can change things up.
Just say
We
anything, please.
We own Cracked. So, we can do things. We can make whatever we want to do.
Whatever you tell us to.
So, final thoughts, my guy. Anything else from you before we wrap it up?
No thoughts. Just keep subscribing. We'll keep doing this as much as we can. Life happens sometimes, so we'll have breaks here every once in a while, but we'll try and be as consistent as we possibly can. And let us know what you want to see. I know we want to get out to some of these MLS games, so we'll have to figure it out. We'll probably figure out an RSL game here coming soon, just to get something new out there. So
something like that. And then I think post World Cup, we'll definitely be able to do a lot more. So we'll definitely do something like that.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate it. This has been the Correct Soccer Podcast, episode 55. Appreciate y'all. Peace.